Hello, everybody. Welcome to Punch Up Pod's Sunday night show, The Shit Show.
It almost got
Um,
off to a special start because we were just shooting the shit, having a great old. Our best political conversations happened before and after the show, but like I was like, hey, we got 13
13
seconds, and I
seconds.
got like three
Hey.
buttons to push and sequence things, and
Everything had to happen. There was a lot of stuff
we
there.
made it though.
We made it. We're here Sunday evening. How are you? How's your weekend been?
I had a good weekend, no complaints. All
Yeah.
all happy over here. I did
That's
want to. I knew cats always come up here, so in case the show gets interrupted at some point, I
yeah.
uploaded a picture of what I'm dealing with when I'm running
Oh,
the show
geez.
here. This is
Oh
my
my God.
screen. So normally there's a keyboard there, but I can't have a keyboard in front of me during the show anymore because she likes to hit every damn button. So
So you
there
just do
she
a
is.
mind meld. She's really
Yeah.
cute though.
Yeah.
You have to do like what's the Elon Musk or is it Elon Musk or Bill Gates who want to do the something with their brains, like so you don't even have to push anything or say anything, it just reads your brain waves.
Oh, that definitely
Is that what
sounds
you're
like
doing?
Musk with the neural implants.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um,
How's your weekend?
it was good. It was really good. We had a couple of my younger son is a senior now, and we're getting to do all the things that we missed when my older son Asher was graduating in 2020, because of course it was the beginning of COVID. And so mostly it's just that's awesome. Mostly it's just really, nice and sweet and lots of fun celebrations. And then all of a sudden it hits me like, oh my gosh, I will be an empty nester very soon. So, but mostly it's really nice celebrations. It's all good stuff. Counting
I
our
would think,
blessings.
I mean, the empty nesting, you got to be, I know you're going to be sad because you're such a
Yeah,
sweet, loving mom and all that.
I
But
just like
think of
didn't
what you
want.
can do with their rooms and,
I know.
you know,
Yeah, I mean, not. Yeah,
yeah.
it's mostly. I just am gonna. It's like your heart is on the other side of the country.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
pretend I can empathize.
It's an
So sweet.
adjustment, and then Josh and I are gonna have to just hang out, just the two of us, which is an adjustment.
And then get
No,
to know each other again.
I
Date
know.
nights. Here we
We were
come.
together 9 years before we got married, so I know that we enjoy spending time together even without the kids.
Yeah.
Um, Anyway, I'm so glad to be doing this. We found a really good comedian who I hadn't known about, so I'm excited to show him on the second half of the show.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. And that we were talking about like how much should we interrupt when it comes to the comedy? I'm
yeah,
asking folks because it's kind of like Lila thinks it's kind of weird to just show some comedian and not be not adding our 2 cents. Like, why would you watch? But I look at it like, we just found a comedian that's political and I would appreciate just watching that. So it's like we
yeah.
just picked something we think leftists would like. So I don't know. We'll interrupt a little bit, but
We'll interrupt a little bit. We welcome the feedback.
right. Exactly.
Kindly constructive criticism. No, yeah, but seriously, because I do feel a little weird when we're just like not saying anything, but I don't want to interrupt his flow. So
And
we'll
I
get
just want to break so I can go to the bathroom,
that's
get rid of
that's
this beer,
favorite
which
pastime.
excuse
What do you
me,
got
my
there?
beer of choice today is the rapist, the therapist.
Oh my
Sorry.
gosh.
I did not even mean to say that, but that's the behind the scenes inappropriate joke that they make it because it's such a strong beer. It's the rapist therapist.
Therapist. I am gonna let you die on that hill, and I am drinking my Pinot Noir. And we first want to, as always, thank our pup heroes and sheroes. We are so appreciative. Seriously, you guys, it keeps growing, and that means so much to us. Thank you. Thank you so much. Really, we are incredibly appreciative. You guys are amazing. Thank you. And I see all of our friends are here. Hello, everybody.
They want some dirt on Josh.
Okay. No. I used to keep a journal, and I read back on it. One of our first or second dates when I went back to his place, and I wrote in my journal, the bathroom was so disgusting, I would not sit on the toilet seat. Like that's how bad it was. But it's been 32 years. He's pretty. I don't want to say well trained because that's such a like gross way of talking about another person. But he's actually very neat and good. It's more just, we've been together for a long time, and the last, whatever it is, 21 years have been like very focused on children. So now all of a sudden you have to kind of like look each other, as my mother used to say, like, look each other in the eyes and just truly talk only about your days in a way that doesn't happen. When you have kids, it's like the scheduling, and of course you're asking the kids and what's happening, like, and just like
Right.
two of us. Um,
You've got it.
we'll be fine. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. We have lots of alcohol to get us through. No, it's going to
Hey,
be, it'll be. Um, all right. So the theme of this week's shit show is the way the powerful have failed by every metric with their propaganda and have tried so hard to throw millennials and Gen Z under the bus, which I think is probably a pretty common theme,
but
generation after generation.
at the
Yeah,
same time that they are saying that they need these kids to come out and vote or we're going to lose.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Like, get in line, pull up your big boy pants, stop taking the ball and go home. Unity, but also, you eat too much avocado toast, you don't save, you're too lazy to work, you live in your parents' homes,
yeah,
you're glued to your phones, and you go, you
you
do
don't
all
even
these like
you don't even
negative.
care about Palestine. You just want to go meet the ladies on campus and
Yeah,
be with the boys, and
yeah. It's just a really
you're really
demeaning,
naive.
yeah. But that, I feel like that tactic has really been amplified recently as they realize that they're losing the whole narrative, I think.
Right. Instead of courting the votes, they're already into the blame game for why they lost.
Yeah.
And you could court the votes now. You get out of Palestine, say we changed course,
Yeah.
flat out legalize weed, not change the
Oh,
schedule
I
from
know, all these
schedule whatever to
to
whatever.
3. Yeah.
Just do something for the people
Yeah.
who you need their vote. That bribe us,
Yeah.
bribe people. Like that's okay.
That's the whole point. I mean, that's what you do with your big donors, right?
Right.
Like, that poll that we were looking at from the New York Times Siena poll on Wednesday. And they always want to blame the far left, the extremist left, who they like to say horseshoe theory, or just like the MAGA right, which is such bullshit, but also the young kids, right? So it's always like the extreme left and the kids. But what was shown in that poll was 2% of people who consider themselves on the left have said that they will not vote for Biden again if they voted for him in the first place in 2020. 16% of people who consider themselves centrists, like normie Dems, said that they're going to not vote for Biden and vote for Trump. So, once again, it's like the Nader thing in 2000. It was actually registered Democrats who overwhelmingly in Florida, not overwhelmingly, but like by a margin of over 2-1, went from voting for Democrat to voting for George
Yeah.
W., whereas 90,000 voted for Nader. So like,
So
but
even if you're
yeah,
going to blame voters, which you should never
of
do,
course, yeah,
they're not even blaming the right group of voters
right,
because they want to just spin this narrative that we can't go too left or it's going
right,
to hurt our party, which
right.
is absolutely
Always
false.
bullshit. Yeah. So the latest thing is not only to demean them, but as we've been seeing, which is pretty horrifying to see police coming in and just attacking protesters, and sometimes just grabbing journalists, throwing them to the ground, pummeling them, people just walking. There was a Nakba commemoration a few days ago, which has been going on. I think it's in New Jersey, this particular uh, example. And one of the restaurant owners, who I think is Lebanese American, who's won prizes for his restaurant and, like the Peace Prize in his town, goes to the commemoration that he's been going to for a decade. And the police just come and start like, his arm is in a cast. They beat him to a pulp. He's lost nerve sensitivity in some of his fingers just for going to a memorial, a commemoration of Nakba. I mean, so we're getting into pretty crazy territory, all to shut people down so that we can continue funding and arming a genocide. Our cheers, because we're going to try and start off on a good note, is the Columbia graduation was canceled by the president of Columbia because she wanted to keep her students safe, which is hilarious. And she's the one who called in the NYPD to send them all to the hospital. So this faculty and professors got together to stage a people's graduation ceremony at St. John the Divine. Yeah, which is very cool. A really beautiful church on the Upper West Side. And a Palestinian British journalist who, she won the Pulitzer Prize. Wait, sorry. Yeah, she did. She won the Pulitzer, but rejected it, which, you know, has a lot of integrity. And she came to speak to them, these graduating students. And I think it was Columbia, CUNY, and NYU students who wanted to come. I don't think it was only Columbia, but I'm not 100%. But anyway, she gave a really beautiful speech of encouragement and praise. So we're going to start off with Mona Chalabi as our cheers.
Cheers. I'll push the button here.
Thank you.
Hi, Habibis. I'm just going to talk to you for 2 minutes because I have the huge honor of acknowledging my fellow journalists in the room. So, as many of you know, our institutions have failed us these past 7 months and long before that. Writers and editors at some of the most respected newsrooms have told lies about what is happening in Gaza. They have said that death threats falling from the skies are evacuation orders. They have described forced displacement as migration. They have issued warnings to their staff telling them not to use words like ethnic cleansing or genocide. In short, they've used their reporting to minimize the suffering in Gaza and maintain the status quo. And they've had that reporting honored by the Pulitzers. They've even sought to discredit or ignore Palestinian journalists like Hind, who face death every day. So I shouldn't have been surprised when I heard what happened last month. A reporter at the New York Times was told that something seemed to be happening at Columbia University. Students appeared to have claimed a lawn as theirs. So like any breaking news story, a Slack channel had been created for the journalists to discuss details and assign stories. This is what they do at the New York Times. When this reporter joined the Slack channel, they were surprised to find that it had been titled Anti-Semitism on Campus. They had decided what the story was before they even took a train uptown. Meanwhile, journalists on campus have had a very different perspective. You had begun reporting before a single tent was assembled. You have not only witnessed the encampments, you listened to the chants, you read the signs, and you spoke to the organizers. You did the work, and you did it so well that journalists like me off campus turned to your words, your Instagram accounts, and we listened to your radio stations if we wanted the truth. And you did that truth-telling while cops harassed, assaulted, and arrested you and your fellow students. And you did it all while trying to graduate and to grieve. That is true for anti-Zionist Jewish students who are having their faith questioned by those who want them to fall silent. It's true for students whose parents look like the mothers and fathers being killed every day, and it is especially true for the Palestinian students who continue to report the facts while navigating unbearable grief. I am so proud to call you my colleagues. Would the journalists in the room please stand?
Just so beautiful and filled with truth and respect and setting the record straight for these young kids who have gone through so much and are leading the way. I just, that gave me chills. I cried when I saw
Me
it
too.
the first time.
I didn't cry, but I get the chills, and it just, you know, when I don't know, I don't even know what to say anymore. But there's so many inspirational speeches given, and not enough is changing. But it's not by a deficit in wonderful, amazing speakers getting attention to this issue. So
yeah, and you know, I thought that the New York Times and legacy media would take a bigger long-term hit after the beginning of the Iraq War that they helped lie us into. And it was like for a moment that they basically sold one or two journalists under the bus and then went right back to doing what they're doing. I think this is going to be a bigger deal. I think there's more independent journalists. I think the fact that we have social media and people can really spread their words and their videos, and I'm hoping. Yeah,
I agree. I mean, I think we're in a time like the Iraq War, Vietnam War, you know, all these things. It takes a long time for the public to catch up to the truth, and the public knows the truth now in record time. So, you know, but the New York Times hasn't even taken a hit yet from lying about this war and pushing all the propaganda that's still being pushed on TV that is knowingly false. So,
yeah, I mean, I guess the hope is that very few people are watching cable news anymore. And, you know, I don't have a lot of faith in our electoral system, mostly because, you know, we don't have enough good candidates who, once they get in, stick to their guns. We have pretty much no candidates who do that in Congress. Yeah. So, but I mean, I do think that the power of our voices, I'm hoping it will be heard. And I think that the fact that there were so many journalists, independent journalists, who signed a petition, I think it's upwards of 100 now, that the New York Times has to do some self-reflection on the rape story, how that happened when there was no evidence, and they just kept sort of retitling different organizations to then push out the exact same information that had already been shown to be inaccurate or lies. I do think that there are more people willing to hold them to account, but yeah,
I agree, but they also have Wordle, and you know that's going to get people. I play Wordle every day.
Yeah.
But, anyway.
Yeah. All right. So on that, we just kind of wanted to, you know, after that lovely speech to these graduating students, we wanted to kind of go back into how we got here with the attitude of elites to the kids. Starting, go ahead.
I think so, but I think we should show a timeline cleanse because we only have a couple.
Oh shoot, you're totally right.
And then we should show the intro video since we made.
Oh my God, Pat, you take over. I've been speaking too much. I'm going to just drink a little bit.
All right, no, let's just get some pets, and we'll be back with more of the fun stuff.
Okay, good.
Cheers.
Oh my God.
I could watch that peanut butter.
Yeah, the peanut butter thing that's how they got Mr. Ed to talk on the TV show.
Right.
Peanut butter in his mouth. He was always like, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna let you do because I think is there like an opening video that we're supposed to watch?
Oh yeah, there's a dynamic graphic coming here before we get into the deep dive is what we're calling this segment now. Deep dive.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
That's good. Yeah. We could add so many to that. That segment, that little opening video could go on for a very long time. That's like an open project we can keep adding to. I like it.
Amen.
All right. So yes, let's let's head back to 2019 just for 30 seconds, knowing that Bernie Sanders had the youth vote and mass appeal, pretty much across the board, but certainly the youth vote. And at this point, Biden had run for president twice and had not won a single delegate ever. And
the balls.
This is how you want to be seen.
After I graduated in '68, Kent State, 17 kids shot dead. And so the younger generation now tells me how tough things are. Give me a break. No. I have no empathy for it. Give me a break. Because here's the deal, guys. We decided we were going to change the world, and we did. We did. We finished the civil rights movement to the first stage. The women's movement came into being. So my message is, get involved.
First of all, he's such a liar. He was not part of the civil rights movement. He did not protest Vietnam. Yeah, he was on the wrong side of it. And I mean, it was horrible, but like he can't even get anything straight or right. 4 kids were killed. Horrifying. But he just
he gives them props for changing the world. Now he's trying to block the kids trying to change the world. He's beating them up. He's the guy that they were fighting against.
He is that meme about liberals where they agree with every civil rights movement except the one that's happening currently and hate every war except the one that's happening currently. He's going to take credit for being part of a movement that he derided when he was and worked against when it was happening.
And not to bring it just popped in my head, but I mean, when we're just talking about the Iraq war and the consequences to the press. Well, everyone who was supported the Iraq war was ostracized allegedly, like they can't become president again. And here he is, the only guy that was running that supported the Iraq war became president.
Oh yeah. So. And like corralled Democrats to vote in favor of authorizing that war, even knowing that it was on false information. Like that's Absolutely. In the record. Yeah, no, he's an abomination. Okay, another abomination. Should we just like go to the abominations before we get to the happy part?
This is a trigger warning. You might want to mute this. This is
we're
PTS
never
hits hard every time I hear this lady talk.
Never leaving 20.
I have had many conversations, as you have had, with a lot of young people over the last many months now. And you're right, they don't know very much at all about the history of the Middle East, or frankly about history in many areas of the world, including in our own country. But with respect to the Middle East, they don't know that under the bringing together of the Israelis and the Palestinians by my husband, the then Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak, the then head of the Palestinian Liberation Organization, then the Palestinian Authority, Yasser Arafat. An offer was made to the Palestinians for a state on 96% of the existing territory occupied by the Palestinians, with 4% of Israel to be given to reach 100% of the amount of territory that was hoped for. And this offer was made, and if Yasser Arafat had accepted it, there would have been a Palestinian state now for about 24 years.
Sorry.
She's just so heinous. And of course, who's she talked to? Like every time we've seen any protesters try to discuss anything with her, she gets them, bring them to heel and get them out of my talk. Yeah, she isn't listening to anybody.
It makes it all about her, in a way. Like they solved the war in Middle East. It was there. It was all there. They solved it, which is patently untrue. But that's another thing. But saying that young kids aren't informed on it, they know much, much, much more than somebody watching CNN or MSNBC,
or reading the New York Times. 100%, 100%. There is just no doubt at all that the kids who take the time to look it up at all are way more informed than pretty much anybody I knew growing up talking about Israel Palestine.
Even if you weren't very informed, if you go to these protests, you're listening to speakers. You are getting informed. You are learning the right message. And they're not going, you don't go to a protest just like, oh, let's check it out. You already support it. But like being there, you're getting education on the situation.
You are. And also, even if you know nothing about it, except that every day you are seeing, I mean, every day I see a new image of a slaughtered baby, mother, father, like that I never actually thought I would see so many dead bodies. And every day it's more horrifying than the previous. So even if all you're doing, like there's nothing complicated about saying ceasefire, we need to stop this. Like that's not complicated. Even if you know nothing about the history, we should be welcoming anybody who has humanity. But what I love about this, because we hear this all the time from Zionists, is that, well, Palestinians walked away from the peace negotiation, they walked away from the table, and you never hear the specifics of what was being offered to them. Was it a good deal? Did they have a conversation? Was there push and pull? Or are we just supposed to tell Palestinians that they have to accept any peace offering that comes their way, no matter what, no matter how little they actually get? And so one of, I think, probably many of our favorite accounts, Zai Squirrel, loves to post, times that people on corporate news kind of get their asses handed to them. And a while ago, he posted this of Morning Joe sitting next to Mika Brzezinski, who at that point, I think they were just having an affair. I don't think she was his.
It wasn't public, right?
Yeah, I think they were both married at that point to other people. But her father, this is a big new, I'm going to say it wrong, Brzezinski, who was a national security advisor to Carter and was in the LBJ administration, not exactly like a lefty pro-Palestinian guy, but really corrects Morning Joe in a way that completely, I think, humiliates him, but just with facts, which is sort of a beautiful sight.
It was wonderful. Let's show it.
What do we do the next time Israel is attacked from an outside force? What do we do at that point?
That's the wrong question.
No, that's not the wrong question, because we never get the condemnation of Hamas or Hezbollah. It's always after Israel responds to defending itself.
No, it's not. The problem is that this conflict has lasted for years, and the United States has been largely passive. So the right question is not what do we do when things break down. The right question is what do we do to avoid a breakdown by being engaged seriously in the peace process. And for the last 8 years, we haven't been. And that's why we have the mess like we have right now in our hands.
You can't blame what is happening in Israel right now on the Bush administration.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't.
Well, look, Joe.
Let's go back to 2000, Dr. Brzezinski. You and I both know Bill Clinton gave Arafat and the Palestinians everything they could have wanted.
Such a stunningly superficial knowledge of what went on that it's almost embarrassing to listen to you.
Oh, is it?
If you were to look more closely at what happened in the Clinton Camp David discussions, you would know that what you have just said is absolutely wrong. There were all sorts of provisions and catches to the so-called proposal, and it wasn't rejected. The negotiations went on in Taba, and then there were elections in Israel, and Sharon came in, and everything got aborted. In the last 8 years, we had a policy in which we have proclaimed an interest in peace. Condi Rice has traveled 16 times in 21 months to the region, proclaiming you must do this, you must do that, but the United States never exerted itself. So the issue that Obama faces, and that's a question that you raised, is are we going to be sitting there issuing condemnations, whether it's of Hamas or of Israel or anybody else, or are we going to be seriously engaged in the peace process? That is the question.
We have another block, and I'm very excited about that because I'm stunningly superficial. Chief, I look forward to you educating me and the rest of America. Hold on, the rest of America and the rest of the foreign policy community who have said time and again Arafat walked away from the best deal he could have got, and that the Palestinians never miss an opportunity to miss an opportunity.
You're repeating slogans. You're repeating slogans. He did not walk away. What he said was, I'm going to take the proposal to all of the Arab capitals and see how they react, because the proposals were controversial. And then negotiations went on, even after Christmas, where Clinton and Arafat met, and they were going on in Taba in January. after Clinton was already leaving office, and then the process got aborted. It's helpful to know a little bit about it.
There's very exciting, Chief, that you know things that the rest of the international community doesn't know.
If you're going to judge your knowledge by the sort of collective standards of 300 million people, then don't be surprised that you're embarrassed.
I'm not embarrassed. I read the New York Times and the Washington Post and Foreign Affairs. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to throw those away, and anytime I have a question, I'm going to call you up.
Let me spell it to you. TABA, TABA negotiations. Look them up. It will be helpful.
I'll do that.
I love that.
It's so beautiful, and it should be so humiliating for Joe Scarborough. Do you think he ever looked up the Taba negotiations, or do you think he just keeps saying Palestinians walk away from the table every time there's a deal there?
I just want to be at their Thanksgiving dinners.
Oh my God, can you imagine?
New father-in-law.
He passed away a couple years ago, but yeah, I bet those were not pleasant.
There's
Imagine
no justice.
handing him his ass like that on national TV. I mean, it's so beautiful. And he doesn't take a moment to have any self-awareness that he got everything wrong.
Yeah, and he's saying he's basically telling him, who knows way more about this and was in the inner workings of all this stuff, you know, as what was his position? I don't even remember that.
National Security Advisor.
National Security Advisor. So he knows more about this than Joe Scarborough is getting. And Joe Scarborough's like, well, I read the New York Times and, you know, I read all the propaganda rags.
Yeah.
And
then saying you must know so much more than I do. Yeah, of course he does. Like, what do you think is happening? Oh my God. Anyway, I sort of love that. Yeah, it is proof that reading mainstream media makes you stupider, because all you're doing is just digesting all of the lies 100%. And, you know, their ratings are going way down. And the interesting thing is, you know, all the different billionaires who bought these different companies or bought up, you know, Washington Post and the New York Times and all the different, you know, what Politico and Slate, they're all like wrapped into another one, because they wanted to save journalism and democracy. And then they get rid of whole departments, right? And just mass firings. They're closing down. I mean, not that Sports Illustrated is necessarily where anyone should be getting news from, but like they just fired, I don't know, their whole like their whole news. I mean, I don't know, like they're doing what Richard Gere did in Pretty Woman in 1988 or whatever year that was, where we all knew that the Gordon Geckos of the world were the worst people alive, and now they've only gotten more powerful.
Yeah, more powerful, and you know, you've got less room for opinion pieces and more tailored opinion pieces on all these rags.
Yeah. That are sold as facts, right? All right, what do we have next? We got this is like just compendium of all the worst of the weeks.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we're going for. This is all worst of the weeks. But I mean, if you haven't seen it, here's 2 minutes of Bill Maher being Bill Maher.
With the kids demonstrating for Hamas, they are in with the terrorists.
They were for the Palestinians.
Well, it's sort of the same cause. Why, are you?
I'm on the side of the kids.
Yeah, that's easy to say. You know, no one wants to see kids dead. This is a war.
That was very brave of you to say that.
This is a war. No, I'm the one who's actually brave on this.
Pat yourself on the back.
It's easy to say I'm for the kids. Who's not for the kids?
Well,
it comes down to real hard-nosed decisions. Like a country.
Stop talking like you're a general.
A country got attacked. Israel got attacked.
I'm not saying that they didn't have a right to go back. I'm just sitting there going like, how do I look at what?
They're the only country in the world that they get attacked, and then as soon as they counterattack, it's like, well, we got to stop this shit now. Don't attack them. There's a very simple solution to all this problem in the Middle East. Stop attacking Israel.
Hey, you just solved
attacking
it.
Israel.
You just solved it.
I actually did.
There you go. That's fantastic.
Anyway.
All right.
We don't need to get onto that.
Let's go to Russia and the Ukraine. How do you solve that one, Bill? Let me hear your hard-nosed decision about that. Well, let me ask you a question. How is war still legal? With all the shit that's been canceled.
Legal.
Why is that still fucking legal?
Would you like a real answer to that? Because for something to be illegal, you have to have the capacity to enforce it. And you can't enforce against war, or else you have to go to war with the country that's going to war. And we don't want to go to war with Russia over Ukraine. What would be the sense of making it illegal? Oh, that's really going to stop Putin. No. To stop people from going to war, you have to also put
Just can't sit down and talk it out. Why can't Putin do a podcast with the head guy? Like, you just solved the Middle East on a podcast. Why can't they solve what they're doing on a podcast?
See, this is why this is not your thing.
Make some hard-nosed decisions. It's not your thing. It's what you.
It is my thing.
It isn't your thing.
This is not your thing.
You're like that guy that has a fantasy football team and thinks he's a fucking GM.
No.
That's exactly what it is. Like, why am I fucking listening to you like you've done something? What have you done?
That's the best line. You have a fantasy team and you're acting like you're the GM. That's just perfect.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many parts we can take apart on that. But, saying that if Palestinians just stop attacking Israel, we don't have a problem. That shows what he thinks of it. It's like in Africa, in apartheid Africa, if people just stopped revolting, there wouldn't be fights. There wouldn't be wars. It would be fine. It would be fine because to him, just going back to when it was fine and it wasn't interrupting his cushy life with annoying youngsters calling him out on his shit, that would be the perfect world. Just make this all go back to slavery.
Yeah. And we talk about it all the time, but the day before, there was an article that in 2023, October 6th, it was already the deadliest year for Palestinians in the West Bank.
Which was fine for Bill Maher.
Doesn't matter.
It was fine.
Well, there weren't any protests. It's so excellent.
Yeah.
Stop attacking. Accept any peace deal that comes your way.
And there are no homeless. I mean, Bill Maher, the homelessness isn't a problem because he doesn't drive by where the homeless people are.
Just don't drive by there and then you're fine.
Around them.
Just ignore the protesters the way you ignore the genocide. You'll be fine.
It'll help Biden get elected, which is more important than anything. So that's what really matters, is getting the Dem in reelected.
Yeah. Okay. On the flip side, though, just so we don't only, go negative, there have been, just like Mona Chalabi, some amazing people who are, and we're not even gonna, we're barely scratching the surface, but we just wanted to show a few. This is Dr. Tiffany Willoughby Herard at UC Irvine. That's been especially brutal, and I haven't been seeing as much about it on, unfortunately, I think just because Columbia is in New York, because it's where people already were aware of protests happening, during Vietnam and the civil rights movement, and because it's an Ivy League, it got a little more attention. But the brutality of these cops coming in and just beating to a pulp and manhandling and attacking peaceful protesters is happening all over. So this is,
and journalists and it's not even, you just have to be there and you could get your ass handed to you by the cops.
They're just picking, and they're coming they are really coming like we are all their enemy. I mean, it is so very clear that this is a class war, and they will do anything to protect the people who pay them, to allow them to continue their genocide without interruption by those pesky protesters.
Yep, absolutely. And it's going to get worse. That's why they're building cop cities, because they know they need to contain us more.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. She's amazing. This is Dr. Tiffany
Willoughby Herard. Yeah.
Herard.
I'm a tenured professor.
What department are you in?
I'm in the Global Studies Department.
And why are you here today?
Because we cannot have a genocidal foreign policy in a democracy. These young people are going to be the ones that have to pay the price for these horrible decisions. These police officers out here today, that's thousands of student scholarships. Thousands of students could have been able to go to school and have books and have housing. But instead, our chancellor, who is a very cruel man, decided to send thousands of dollars worth of state funding paid for by the taxpayers into the trash.
Are you concerned about this jeopardizing your job?
For real. What job do I have if the students don't have a future?
I mean, what job do I have if the students don't have a future? And so watching these presidents of universities, the disgust, the hatred that they have for their students and their faculty, like the whole academic part of it is a total, like they actually wish they could be done with all of that.
Yeah, and the framing that this is all about silly students, when it is the administration fighting their own faculty. The faculties of almost all schools, they're supporting the kids. They're not on side of these administration because they know they don't. What sense does it make for a college to be profiting off of military weapon production? Like, why should that be a thing? Period. Why should that have ever been a thing? And peaceful protests. It's all these protests were peaceful before. You have some
counter protesters,
Zionists, counter protesters that get violence, but mostly it's the cops that come in and make the violence. They are creating
every protest. I mean, that's what pretty much happens at every protest. It's what happened during 2020 and all the George Floyd protests. I mean, that is pretty much what always happens. And it's been so clear for decades that these college administrators have no concern and put no value on education on any level. And obviously the professors who have been there for a while are very well aware of the priorities of their institutions. But to see them call these militarized cops in who can't, I don't know, I read Dr. Stephen Thrasher's threads. He's been really amazing. He wrote he was so excited because Violet Affleck, who always wears an N95 in public, Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner's son, she was carrying the underclass, oh my gosh,
I forget the name of the book.
Virus of the Underclass. I know I'm going to get it wrong. I'm sorry to Dr. Stephen Thrasher, but he's in Chicago, I think, and he's been going to campuses around there, DePaul and University of Chicago and other places. And the way he describes the community and people, reading to each other, taking over for each other when somebody goes to class or to a final, people bringing food for each other, it feels like, listen, we might not agree with every single thing that every single person says at any of these places, but when have you ever been in a room at a dinner table married to somebody that you agree with every single thing that the person says every time? But basically these places are creating an alternative community because these kids realize their government's doing nothing for them. No healthcare, no minimum wage. They are saddled with debt.
And that's what I love about her speech, not speech. I mean, she just said that off the cuff while being dragged by cops and someone threw a mic in her face,
Yeah.
So it's not like a planned statement she had even.
Yeah.
But the part I appreciate is connecting the dollars to, look, this could be housing, this could be education, scholarships. And instead it's the cops. It costs millions of dollars for them to bring the cops in to shut this stuff down and beat up protesters. And
and then it's going to be millions more when they're sued and they have to pay out and all these lawsuits. I mean, that's a huge chunk of the cop budget is paying out all these lawsuits. Yeah.
And how the school isn't going to do well from this either. Like Columbia, until there's a good outcome for the protesters, who's going to want to go to Columbia?
Well, and Columbia advertises itself. Yeah. As many of these places do, as the next leaders of the world with a social conscience and who's going to solve the big problems and look at our history. I mean, they advertise that on their websites, right? Yeah.
I'm just saying your degree is worthless now, Lila. Sorry. I'm sorry. Lila went to Columbia and they're a racist institution.
Well, I'm very proud of those kids though. I am just
absolutely
and so grateful because listen, it's hard enough. It's a grind. It was a grind school. My eyesight, which was already bad when I got there, it got exponentially worse. I was reading thousands of pages a week. It's a lot of work to do that and to do the training that they had to do they are so well disciplined at these encampments. And sorry, but I'm scared of physical interactions. I don't want to get hit or dragged off to jail. I'm a germaphobe. Like, I don't want any of that. They are brave. I mean, they really are. Their bodies on the line. And I don't trust any of these cops not to just haul off and shoot somebody. That's what, like, they actually did at one of these campuses. They actually shot into the crowd. But they're coming with these. I mean, like,
and the colleges, they don't give a fuck. You know, these administrators. I saw one of the colleges during finals, the library was taken over as a police headquarters.
It was a police headquarters on campus.
Police headquarters. Like, imagine trying to. A lot of people rely on the library. You have a noisy house apartment. You have a shitty apartment with 10 roommates, whatever. You need someplace quiet to go study. You can't even go to the library.
And their books sometimes they're only referenced. You're not allowed to check out. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But you need the library sometimes.
Yeah.
And you don't even have access to it because it's full of cops.
I mean, that shows you the whole, that gives away the whole game. You put cops in the library and close it to students.
It's disgusting.
Yeah,
I feel like, should we show
something
Professor?
Yeah. Sorry, I thought I was getting. I see myself getting red and like.
Oh, was I
angry.
hooked? Do you think I was hooking the?
I
whole
thought
segment?
you were hooking me. I thought you were like.
Let's show some pets.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Let's show. You know, we already did show this whole clip. We won't show the whole thing, but of from Columbia, Professor Rashid Khalidi, who is the professor, I think, of Palestinian studies. He holds the Edward Said chair at Columbia. Yeah. Every time you talk, I interrupt. I'm really sorry. I'm going to just pour myself another glass of wine and let you handle it.
No, we're good.
There you go.
We should listen to him, not me anyway. No one should listen to me.
Shut up.
My name is Rashid Khalidi. I'm the Edward Said Professor of Modern Arab Studies at Columbia University. I've been teaching here for a total of 22 years. When I was a student back in the 60s, we were told we were led by a bunch of outside agitators, by politicians nobody remembers the name of today. We were the conscience of this nation when we opposed the Vietnam War and racism back in 1968 and 1969 and 1970. The Vietnam War stopped because the people opposed it, and the people who led that were students. And the students who led that were here at Columbia and at Berkeley and a few other campuses on this fair Turtle Island. Students have been on the right side of history at Columbia and at other universities ever since the 1960s. We today honor the students who in 1968 opposed a genocidal, illegal, shameful war. Columbia University honors them. They're on the Columbia website. You can check it out yourself. 1968 is commemorated. One day, what our students did here will be commemorated in the same way. They are and they were on the right side of history. And that will go down in history. That when the change finally came, and finally the American people who have already opposed this war, who've already opposed this genocide, are able to force their craven politicians to stop it, which we can do. The United States is part of this war. Every plane bombing Gaza is an American plane, F-16s, F-15s, F-35s. Every helicopter, Apache, is American. Every bomb drop is American. Those are our taxes. Those are our representatives. Shame on them. And shame on the administration of this university. They will go down in infamy for having done what they did the other night. Today, nobody remembers the names of the administrators and the trustees who ordered the police onto the Columbia campus.
Okay, I know we all saw the whole thing, but I just do want to give, some props to the people who are standing up for the students. And he's so brilliant. But it is such an embarrassment that they highlight their social justice movements on their websites at so many of these campuses, Columbia specifically. And then Manoush, what's her name? Manoush Shafiq, bringing in the cops is just appalling.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it stands out. Like, the point of this segment was that they're blaming young kids for everything. And look, young people right now are fighting for their future because, like, they look up and they're like, you guys are doing fuck all about climate change. You're doing fuck all about our Social Security. Our jobs aren't paying enough to pay the rent. We're living with multiple roommates. You guys all have houses. We can't get houses. That's not happening for us. You guys are in control of this. So like to then become the and they've already been the scapegoat, the butt of jokes, like, you know, young kids
living in your
are
parents' basement. You just don't want to work.
pussies,
You're
can't change a
lazy.
tire, you know,
Snowflake. Yeah.
all that kind of stuff, which, you know, some of it's true. I'm not going to lie, but it's all a product of their environment and what older people left for them. And what's this future? So they're fighting for it. You know, this genocide is like, that's not even about them, but it's like, it's just, it encapsulates all the angst that they have of like, you guys aren't listening.
Right.
And
it's such a clarifying moment of the priorities, right? Not
exactly.
All of these policies that we all want, that by the way, Israel, whom we fund to the hilt, has free healthcare, right? Like all these other countries in the, you know, the whatever industrialized countries or first world nations or whatever sort of like racially tinted name that we give to them, but like they all have so many of the things that most of this country wants also. And it is just so clear there is just nothing is being done for anybody in this country. Not a single thing.
Nothing. And you know, we can afford all the cops to break this stuff up, which costs mega millions, but we can't do fuck all about their student loans, you know, that are not going to secure them a job to get rid of their student loans, you know, like, you can't blame the kids. That's the point. The kids are doing what they should be doing and fighting like hell to change the system.
And and by the way, the protests against Vietnam, I'm not trying to take away from them when I say this, but unlike those protests, we don't have a draft for these kids to be going to the war. So it is truly, I mean, like anybody should be protesting a genocide 100%, but like there is no direct effect to them with this war. I mean, apart from seeing how depraved their country is, apart from this is the right thing to do because you are slaughtering people, you are ethnically cleansing, you're, you know, like all of the things that are horrific that are not actually, like these kids are not worried that they're going to be sent off to go fight it, but they know how wrong it is and that it's part of everything wrong with the whole world, actually, where our priorities are.
And they're screaming at our government to stop lying to them. Everybody needs to stop lying to them. Stop lying that capitalism works, that you just get a second degree and you're going to have a great paycheck and have your picket fence house. Like they know these things aren't happening and they're getting lied to. And it's just, they've just had enough, you know,
they have nothing to lose at this point
right now. So the idea that this is going away and in a couple months, it'll be settled and people will vote for Democrats and it's not going away. If it was going away, we wouldn't have cop cities being built everywhere.
I mean, that is so instructive about where the people in power know we're all headed, right? They know we are coming for them. That's why they're doing this. And, you know, you could go one way, which was the FDR way, which is, listen, he and his wealthy cronies have plenty. We'll still continue to benefit from a capitalist system, but we got to give some to the people or we're going to be, you know, guillotined.
Yeah, our heads are going to be on sticks.
Yeah. So that's one way to go, which is why he was so enormously popular, because
he threw some crumbs out.
Yeah. Yeah. Like an actual welfare, social safety net, a welfare system, like truly a welfare system for people. And now they have stripped away every single piece of it. And I don't know I guess they really are just thinking they're just going to like go to their bunkers and keep hiring these thugs to bash.
Well, they don't understand yet. They think they might be able to harness some of this into, you know, because they have the control of the media. But they don't understand. They're not.
You got to ban the TikTok.
They're not going to win that fight. They're adjusting to a new paradigm and they're not adjusting well. And we're all paying the price, but they're not going to PR their way out of what's happening now.
I just don't see how they can do it. I mean, they keep trying and writing these things about the economy and people are still feeling not great. And I don't know how much longer they can just keep talking about the Dow. Like, who the hell cares about the Dow? I mean, I know the people who care about the Dow, but like, that's not convincing the people you need. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay.
Should we show the Jon Stewart clip, a little bit of that?
Yeah, let's just show the first minute and a half, because I do think, again, it's another thing, just like, oh, Palestinians walk away from every peace negotiation that's ever been offered to them without like going underneath. The other thing is, well, why would anybody listen to young people? They never show up to vote. They're, pull up your big boy pants and you got to participate in the system. And so I think this is a good conversation between Jon Stewart and a pollster.
Amen.
What would you like our political system or our media system to do with this, other than to come out and go, hey, these guys are worried? Because what we ultimately end up getting, I'll watch the news and just see the Harvard School of Politics Institute did a survey, and the number one concern is inflation, and number 15 is Israel Gaza, and 14 is emo music. Like, and it'll just give you this list, and there's no illumination there. It's just a list.
What I want elected officials to do, and they are doing it, is to understand these concerns so they can speak to these concerns, because if they speak to these concerns, younger people will be more likely to vote. Not only can they speak to these concerns, but if they could show the track record and the progress that we have made, because, John, this is a different and better country because young people voted in 2020 in record numbers. We don't have KBJ on the Supreme Court. We don't have the largest investment.
They voted in record numbers in the last one?
In record numbers.
What was the percentage of young people that voted?
We look at 18 to 29-year-olds. It's the first time in history that more than half voted, 52%.
Really?
On college
campuses. Even in Vietnam, the young people didn't vote.
On college, this is higher than any time on record.
Wow.
On college campuses, it was over 60%, which is essentially the same rate as all Americans. And what's interesting about this is not only do we have the highest turnout ever, but also it was the youth vote specifically in those 5 battleground states, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Arizona, and Georgia, who by 20 points voted for Biden. Donald Trump won everybody over the age of 44. So it's a young people in particular who are responsible for flipping those states from red to blue and elected Biden.
So if you were young people today and you did that and you overcame that, what has been done for you? Other than some of you, in terms of like loan forgiveness or something along those lines. But do you think that the politicians did honor that vote?
I think so.
All right, that's where it goes off the rails. But the first part with the statistics, I feel like we should all write those numbers down so that when the libs who love to be like, oh, these young people who don't show up to vote and how can they
right. And another correlation is he's talking about the 18 to 29-year-olds, right? Came out in record numbers, basically won the election for Biden is what he's saying.
In the swing states.
Right. And that's where Biden has a 40% loss over the last election cycle.
He's going after the Mitt Romney Republicans.
Of the group that got him that election.
He's got no empathy for them. Biden's generation was protesting the Vietnam War and for civil rights. That's what he said. That's why he had oh my God.
They really have to stop pretending that student loan forgiveness is going to help Biden, because more people didn't get student loan forgiveness at all than got it. So you disappointed more people on the issue than you pleased. If you're just buying votes, you cost yourself votes with your student loan bullshit.
Yep.
I don't know. Where do we go?
Is this the happy part?
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's move on. But wait, I want to give a shout out to Eric Andre.
Yeah.
We sort of debated showing this because he's a little late to the game, right?
Yeah, it would have been nice to see him October 9th. But it's good that he showed up.
It's good that he showed up. And I think, we are pressuring all these guys celebrities to not sit on the fence, and he's not sitting on the fence. So when they do come out, we should appreciate it. But it's a full throttled endorsement now. So I appreciate it.
Yes.
Yo, I'm setting the record straight. No one's talking for me. Stop weaponizing anti-Semitism. As a self-loving Jew, let me just say permanent ceasefire, end the siege on Gaza, let Gaza live, impeach Netanyahu, fuck Raytheon, fuck Lockheed Martin, Jewish and Palestinian safety's intertwined, not in my fucking name, send them home. You do not need to cut off people's water supply in the name of Jewish safety. You do not need to bomb universities, bomb hospitals, bomb ambulances in the name of Jewish safety. You do not need to bomb children in the name of Jewish safety. Free Gucci Man, free Boosie, free Gaza. You can donate here. You can donate at unrwa.org. You can donate at Gaza Mutual Aid on Instagram. And you can donate at campusbailfunds.com. Peace and love. Love you guys.
That was really good. It was 6 months coming, but it was really good.
True.
I'm sorry, but I just keep thinking about, because the part of the Biden clip about having no empathy, I forgot, even though I'm the one who pulled it. I forgot about that initial part where he's like, we were protesting. These kids, because that was 4 years ago, these kids don't do anything. We were protesting. Meanwhile, the biggest protest in national history happened right after that in 2020. Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. Thank goodness
Piece
for my alcohol.
of shit. All right, let's move on. Right?
Do we need something? Yeah.
A cleanse? Do we need a cleanse? Maybe
we could do a little bit of
We'll come back on the other side with the comedian.
Everybody should get a drink, get a
drink,
whatever
whatever floats
makes
your boat.
happy. Yeah.
All right. Cheers. I would be dead.
I know. I was just thinking, like, I had just said that it scares me. Like the protest with the police show up like that. And like that would scare, like any of those things scares me enough.
Yeah.
Very fragile.
I can't do any of those things, but us guys, we like to do stupid things and attempt them. And I'm sure that would be the end of me.
Yeah.
I'm currently I have a cat underneath my desk over here who's got claws in my arm. Now both claws.
And you're just leaving it there. Who's the boss here?
I wish. Here, let me see if I can get a picture of it.
Oh my God.
Literally in my skin. Look at that. Look at that.
Pat,
Oh, sorry. I should wear socks when I'm on the show. Sorry.
That's crazy.
I might not wear socks sometimes.
Did you used to do that when you were
It's still in me? Sorry.
We would take like pins and just do like the top layer of skin.
Yeah, that's what's going on there.
Oh,
and Pablo got me this yesterday too. He trashed me. So there's a lot of blood and sweat with animals.
I guess so. I think you need to show them who's boss.
Should I?
Who's the master?
Don't cheer on strike.
Okay. Are we moving on to our comedian?
Yeah, let's roll the comedian guy. Wait, let's see. Where was the comedian guy?
Your lefty lols?
Yes.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
Oh my my God. We should do a trigger warning before that because every single one of those faces sends me spiraling for a different reason. Holy Jesus. That's the, yeah. Okay.
Those are our leaders. All of
Those
them
are our leaders. Yeah. They are the leaders of our fine nation. Okay. So this is Emil Joaquin. And I'm just gonna play it and then we can just I just
okay, so
I feel like, you know, and it's comedy, right? So they're like the only way you know the line is if you cross the line and then you know maybe you bring it back. So they're gonna be things that probably are not gonna be entirely appealing to everybody watching. But I really like him. I just want, you know, just because we show it doesn't necessarily.
We're putting the warning label below it. We don't co-sign everything he says. We disagree with a couple points. We'll probably bring it up, but it's humor, and he's got a perspective that we
really appreciate. Like I think it's great. I just you know, I know there are going to be some things that people bristle at, which I did too, and I understand. And we'll pause a couple times and maybe take a breather. I'm going to put him up here. So this is Emil Joaquin.
Just the first minute, because we all have to come up here and just convince you guys we're just talking. We just have to riff like, oh, nice room, shitheads, or what? Like, I don't. That's how people love crowd work guys now. They love guys that are like, what's your name, Jeff? Fuck you. And people are like, he's so good. How does he do it? Oh my God, he's so present. I'm not fun like that, you know. Like I just want to do my jokes. But like, what's your name? Nate. Nate, what do you think about Israel and Palestine? No, sorry. No. Find me after the show, we'll talk about it. Well, since you brought it up. I'm Arab, my girlfriend's Jewish, so let's just be cool for the next couple minutes. Just keep that in mind for the set. We're on the same side of things, which is nice, but a lot of people don't know what side to pick. A lot of people don't know what to think about this stuff. And here's my thing. If you ever want to know what opinion to have on an issue in the Middle East, my biggest piece of advice is just never take the side that America is on. That's my biggest piece of advice. Just numbers-wise, we're fucking 0 for 30 in the region. I don't even think that's controversial to admit either. We admit that shit all the time. Every time we're involved that we pull out and then 2 years later we're just like, sorry, oh no, we shouldn't have done that one. Like, you know how dudes have like post-nut clarity? America has that we'll just like bomb Yemen every couple years and then we're like, sorry, I should have jerked off. That was fucked up. That's my bad. I was being a dick for no reason. It's funny to see what side people fall on, you know? You could tell some of the stuff's not genuine at all. Like racist guys pick the side in this. That's hilarious. Like the far right, like loves Israel. It's not because they like want to help Jewish people have like a safe home and like help they're just so racist. They just hate Arabs more. You know what I mean? Like Marjorie Taylor Greene, a year ago she said the California wildfires were caused by Jewish space lasers. Now she's on Fox News every day being like, I support Israel in every riot. Like, how much does that lady hate Arabs that she's teaming up with Jews now? She's like, no, I love Jews. I've always loved Jews. 6 months ago, all these guys were like, Jews control the weather. And now they're like, you're goddamn right, I'm pro-Israel. Some of my best friends control the weather, okay? I love those guys. All right, getting a little tense on that. Okay, good to know. It's hard to be a young person now in the country because you got to care about all this stuff, you know, all this stuff that's out of your control. Everyone in my generation, we're all young. We all have like very well-formed opinions on very serious topics. That's not a good sign of a society. Because all it is, that's just older generations not wanting to change shit, so they pass it off on us, and then they frame it as like hope. They're just like, whoa, look at the kids nowadays. They're amazing, aren't they? Wow. They're gonna fix it. Oh, the kids are gonna fix it. It's like, you fucking fix it. What the hell? I just got here. I'm still trying to figure out how to go grocery shopping. Now I gotta do it with paper bags. This sucks. I hate it. Every time I see like Greta Thunberg She's like getting arrested at protests. All my friends are like, she's such an inspiration. Isn't that amazing? I'm like, no, that's not good that it lands on her. Like, she's 20 now. She's in college. We've ruined her. We've ruined Greta. She's not gonna be a fun college kid. No one's gonna invite her to a party. Like, oh guys, Greta's here, sick. Like, she's not gonna have a normal life. Like no one is gonna finger Greta Thunberg, okay? You can't penetrate the voice of a generation. It's wrong. It's like shooting an eagle. It's like, oh, it like kills the hope of a nation, you know? But that's what I want for the world. Like, I'm optimistic, you know? I want Greta to squirt. You know what I mean? Like, that's progressive. If you're liberal, you should want that for the world. That's how you know we have world peace, when she can relax enough to get there, you know? Every time Greta squirts, a polar bear is born or something. I don't know. It's like a weird riddle. Is that too much for only knowing me for 4 minutes? Is that...
What do we think? Is that too much, people? That was the one that made Pat nervous.
That was the cringiest one for me.
It's gonna get worse.
If I laugh at it, for me, even if I laugh at it and I don't agree
20.
with
I
it,
feel like we can talk about it. I'm fine with that. It's the next bit. I'm gonna feel a little more uncomfortable, but I really like him. I like that he's talking about it, and I do think every time I say that, and I totally agree when I'm like, these kids are so inspiring. I'm like, we left them with the shittiest world ever, and they have to fight for everything. Not enough that it's climate, a global pandemic, mass world war, genocide. Right. Like, you know. So anyway,
and honestly, it is like, you know what he's saying. The kids shouldn't be fighting about that. They shouldn't have to. Like,
no,
you should.
Horrible.
It's like, you know, when kids grow up in an abusive household or something, they grow up early because they have to survive. You know, it's stunting their growth as a person. You know, in some ways. So young people in college, like,
shouldn't have to get abused and hauled off to jail.
But it just shows you how bad it is that they have taken aside all their time to be in these protests and involved in this stuff, and that's how bad things are. So
all right, we're gonna withdraw again. Best of luck. Here we go.
Good luck.
It's hard talking about all this stuff in the Middle East when you look like this, you know? People just get worried. They think you're gonna do something. It's crazy. They get scared, you know? And like, I'm half white. Like, I'm half Arab, half white. So if I ever do anything, will it be terrorism or just mental health? You know what I mean? Like, we don't know what side wrote the joke. Every country has terrorists. We have terrorists here too. We just call it different things, you know? When it's white guys, it's mental health. And then when it's brown guys, we're just like, oh, they're just sick. They're just born like that. It's like, no, that's also mental health. Those guys aren't stable. They think God told them to do it. They're like, oh, I want him to like me. We got to do it on this specific day. And look, if you read the book like this, you can tell in this line he wants us to do it like this way. Like, they're on the spectrum about it. They are. Terrorists are just autistic, guys. That we just kept poking. I know that's hard to hear, but that is true. Terrorists are autistic. That's why all their plans involve like planes and trains and buses. They're just in a cave like, I want to be a truck driver for this one. I want to drive a big red truck. 72 virgins, what a specific number, you know? Like, how else do you get there?
All right, this is Lila.
This is the part that I'm uncomfortable with. I'm fine with the sex stuff, but this made me uncomfortable.
So it is a little punching down, but I think the part to remember is the equation part of it is terrorists are artistic, not autistic people are terrorists.
Right.
Like, that's the joke part that some people, you know.
I just know that, like, and by the way, like, I'm sorry, this is like, okay. So, and then I'm going to like really pull myself out of the whole thing. But yesterday, and Pat, bless you, allowed me to like work through all my emotions. I was like, I think I'm going to cut that part out because I actually think it will be distracting as we're talking about it. And I don't want people to think that we're co-signing like, you know, like people who are on the spectrum are violent, because that's actually almost entirely, opposite of the facts. And I started like cutting things, and I was like, oh my God, this goes against my religion entirely, because as an actress, as a creative person, like I don't mess with anybody's stuff. And like Josh and I will give each other notes, but like once it's out there, you don't manipulate it. And then I came back to that and I was like, no, we should just do it and we can just talk about it. But thank you for giving me the grace to like move through that on my own. And I still had to talk nonstop about it. And Justin, thank you for your comment, which I don't know if anybody can see because I have this up here, but Viola said, I feel better knowing he's not afraid to offend everyone, which I love. And Justin, and I don't know if you can see it because on ours it's covered by the bar, but Spectrum guy here still laughed, but I felt bad about it. That's the best way. And thank you, the runs. We know whether you punch down or up. Okay, thank you. I'm going to just take myself out of it. Sorry, I just needed to qualify.
Good.
No, I know it's different. I know it's different when white guys do it, when brown guys do it, obviously. The reasons are different, Brown guys, it's not as surprising when they, well, no, I don't want to say that. It's not, I'm not saying that when brown guys do it, it makes more sense. I'm saying, no, that is what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Hold on, just give me a second. Let's be adults here for a second, okay? White guys do terrorist stuff for the silliest reasons. That's true. Brown guys do it, they're just like, oh, America! You killed my family and you built a Starbucks on their grave! And then white dudes are just like, no one in social studies wants to fuck me. Like, it's so different, bro. It's always just one guy, too. He can't even convince other people of the cause. He's just like, isn't Sarah a bitch? And people are like, no, I don't really feel that way about her. I love that I'm getting 30% of you at a time. That's kind of my target. I'm never for everyone at once. That's what I've realized. No, I don't criticize America because I hate America or because I'm like a terrorist sympathizer. That's crazy. I criticize America because I'm objective. That's what that is. I live here. I'm an American. I love it here. My life's so amazing. It's so great. I know it has to be evil somewhere close. It has to. You guys ever like take a step back and you realize like that is too convenient. That's got to be fucked up somehow. I was on Amazon the other night. I was ordering something. It was like 11 p.m. and they were just like, it'll be here tomorrow. And I was like, fucking no! No, it can't! Please don't bring it tomorrow. Fuck! Tomorrow? How the fuck does it get here tomorrow? How many kids have to die for this ukulele to get here tomorrow? Like, fucking make me wait for something, please. Our morals are just, we have no morals with it. We just get whatever we want whenever. It doesn't matter how it gets there. You can see like what we go to war for. That's how you can always tell our morals are just like fucked up, What do we go to war for most of the time? It's terrorism and it's communism. Those are the two things. Terrorism, that makes sense. All right, that's blood for blood. You go to war for that, sure. But communism, that's just an idea. And we go to war for it every time. It's not even in our country. It's just some other dude in another country is just like, I don't think you should have that much stuff. And we're like, I'll fucking kill you, dude. Don't ever fucking say that again, all right? You're with the terrorists now. You're the same guy to us. I don't know, I think I'm getting worse a little bit. I worry that... I think we all are. We were all getting really good and then we just kind of plateaued. Do you guys feel like that a little bit? Yeah, a couple honest people, thank you. I still care about all the things that matter, like people and their rights and everything. I'm still down for all that for sure. But the semantics, I'm just kind of like, I'm over that now, I tried to do all this stuff they told us. They were like, you want the big change, you gotta do the small change. I was like, for sure, I'll do all that. They're like, do you love black people? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, all right, paper straws. Okay, yeah, sure, I'll do paper straws. Sure, okay, that'll work. I did all that stuff and nothing changed. It's like fucking now, let me just be a fun person. I'm gonna be a good person locally, but I'm just gonna be fun now. I did everything. I marched, I recycled. Dude, I voted for Joe Biden. I'm saying retarded now. Do you know what I mean? Like, I should get a pass. Just, the oceans are on fire. I'm never gonna own property. Let me do a Chinese accent, please. Just, with my friends, just give me something to live for, Israel bombed a thing. That's so gay, dude. That's so gay. I wish they didn't do that. I don't know what's wrong with the world or the country. I don't know. I do have an inkling though that it starts with religious people. I do think it starts there. And I don't want to shit on religion, you know, because I do think religion brings like a lot of beautiful values to the world. I really do. And I can't wait until religious people start living by them. I think it's going to be great when they implement. That's going to be sick. Believe whatever you want, but don't believe it. You know what I mean? Don't be a dick about it. Because the only reason you believe it is because your parents told you. It's not a real. Just be like, I might be wrong a little bit, you know? That's how I would love to know what the right religion is, but I'm like, I probably don't have it. I grew up Catholic. It's fucking not that one. It's for sure not that. There's no way. That'd be a crazy one to be right. That'd be the worst group of people to be right about everything. If you died and you got to heaven, it was just like white Jesus. He's just like, gay people are weird, huh? And you're like, oh, fuck, it's this guy? Damn it. I was sure it wasn't this guy. Come on in, man. Yeah. What about my bags? Oh, don't worry. The slaves will get those. Don't even worry about that. They'll get them. They're slaves? Of course they're slaves. It's heaven. Ah, it's heaven. Come on. You think I'd make all this without those guys? Come on. I don't think anyone actually believes in their religion. I think everyone just kind of makes up a version of God that's just cool with whoever they want to be in that moment of their life. They'll break whatever rules they want. They're just like, no, he'll know, it's me, it's cool. Like all my friends, all kinds of religions, every kind of religion across the board, they all have sex before marriage, every single one of them. Which is a huge rule in every major religion, is no premarital sex. And everyone is breaking that. Everyone thinks God is just gonna be like a bro about that one. Like you're gonna die and you're gonna go up there and you're just gonna be like, ah! And he's gonna be like, ah, yeah, get in here, dude, come on. That was a test to see if you were gay. Come on in. I'm glad you figured that one out, buddy. You were supposed to fuck everyone forever. I'm glad you got that. I'm spiritual now, though. That's my thing, and that's annoying in a different way, you know? But everyone in here is spiritual. Everyone in my generation, we're all like spiritual now, and that's great, but that we have nothing real to give each other. We can't pray for each other. There's nothing to give. We're the generation with the most trauma and hardship, and there's no real... Horrible shit happens all the time. I'm just texting friends, like, sending vibes? Like, what an asshole. Her grandma died. She's not on Molly. Why am I sending vibes? It's nothing. My girlfriend's friend died the other day. I was trying to comfort her. I was like, hey, she's somewhere. Oh, she's not here, but whoa, where could she be? Oh, she's under here or something. Ah, she's in the trees like a squirrel. Why are you crying? This is happy. I don't know. I would love to believe in something bigger than me, though, you know? I went to a therapist about it because I was feeling depressed. I was like, I don't feel like I'm grounded in anything, you know? I want to feel like there's something bigger. There's like a meaning to all this. And she was like, you should do mushrooms. And I was like, my dad was right about you guys. This is white lady witchcraft. Are you kidding me? So I fired that therapist, and then I took mushrooms. Oh, brother, I owe her an apology. Holy shit. There's something for sure. Anyone take mushrooms in here? Yes, yeah. They're great. Mushrooms are great. I will say this, though. Mushrooms, they'll give you some thoughts. You'll go, I don't know what to do with that, you know? I don't know how to go back to just society after thinking that way. How do I go back to just having a job and wearing pants? First time I took mushrooms was in Vancouver with a friend. And if you've never been in Vancouver, it's a beautiful city. It's like a very futuristic city, and it's right on the coast. So it's like all these big skyscrapers and these like hikes and these big mountains and these hills. And I was sitting on this hill with a friend, and we were watching the sunset. And something happened, you know? I just felt this like stillness that I'd never felt before in my life. And I wasn't yearning for anything. I didn't need to explain anything. I was just happy just being there and being a part of this thing. And I was like, wow, that's something, you know? And I know that sounds like lofty and heady, but like everything I grew up with religiously, all the sayings, they like made sense in that moment. Like, oh, the kingdom of heaven is like here and now. I was like, oh shit, oh, it's here. It's this. It's not like a castle in the sky. It's like the grass and it's like the leaves. Like that's crazy. And then oh, like we're all made in like God's image, and like, oh fuck, I'm that, like I'm from that, and that's good. So I must be good. That's good. That's cool. Damn, Jesus was like a cool guy. He was like a hippie, you know. That's crazy. And then the sun went behind one of these buildings, and I got really sad because I was just like, fuck, what are we doing? Look at how hard we work to fucking ruin our lives, you know? That's why we're not happy. That's why we don't feel good. We're not supposed to be up there in buildings with metal and air conditioning. We're supposed to be here with our feet in the dirt, you know? How do we get this out there? How do we remind each other we're not supposed to be living like that, you know? Like, how do we fucking take those towers down? You know what I mean? Like, how do we do it? But for love, like for Jesus, how do we do it? Because Jesus is God, and God is the greatest. Allahu Akbar. Oh, fuck! No!
I think he's pretty great. I thought he was great. There were like a few moments I was like, if it were Josh's script, I would like,
Got some edits.
Yeah, I'd have some edits. I know I've said it before, but Josh always says he won't send a script out until I've marked it up enough to make him cry. That said, listen, there's so many difficult topics to address, and I thought you did a good job. Oh, really? Look at this. We're going to start airing all of our grievances in public.
Oh, yeah. Foo? It's foo.
Fuck you. Yeah. Like when Pat the other day, I must bring this out on people. Pat the other day was like, hey, fucko.
What was that? I don't even remember
know why you said that to me. I don't even think you said that.
No, you thought I said she called me and thought I said something. She's like, did you just say, hey, fucko? Or something? I didn't. But now it's now how I answer the phone.
Now that's our like term of endearment for each other. Audrey, I totally agree. That was a great way to end this set. And I have a recommendation, The Big Sick, which I'm sure most of you have seen, but there's a really good joke in there. It's oh God, now I'm going to get everybody's name wrong, so I'm not even going to do it. The Big Sick, Ray Romano is in it, and he's not the main couple, and it's so good. But I don't want to say anybody's name because my brain isn't functioning. But
sounds amazing.
There are a few wrong jokes in there that are actually really amazing and funny. And it's a small movie, but it's so good. I'm just gonna put it out there. All right. Well, I don't know. Do we have anything else? What do you think?
Well, I know we're gonna go out with one good thing. We have
one good thing. Yeah.
A little outro of protesters. Another speaker to go out with, but I added this a second ago because I wanted to say peace is possible.
Oh, catnip for everybody.
Currently sleeping, not attacking me, pulling my skin. So there's that.
That's good. You should sneak out.
She just got her head.
Oh, she knew you were talking about her. Too much.
All right. Should we wrap it?
Yeah, let's wrap it. We'll accept some notes if there's a different way you want us to go. We're kind of still experimenting with this format. As I'm sure all of you who have tuned in for a while know, and am uncomfortable with silences. So the sitting on the side, but I also don't want to interrupt, a comedian's flow. So, let us know. Give us some feedback. We would love it. We will be back with our normal Wednesday night punch up pod. And that's it.
Yeah. Peace. Cheers. Appreciate everybody. Thank you so much. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Thanks, you guys. Keep punching up. We'll see you Wednesday.
I am here to deliver a message to university students around the world on behalf of all Yemeni students. There are hundreds of millions, if not billions, of humans standing by your side. Our pray, our hopes, and our dreams are all tied to your hand. You are the front line defend humanity, every corner of the earth, not just Gaza. We know the hardship of your path and the difficulties of your mission. Keep going, fight, push the rock uphill, swim against the current. If necessary, be the current itself. Be the rock, be even the mountain. never retreat or surrender. From Yemen, our respect and our praise to you. Free Palestine.